Alright, I'm back with a Destiny Rising video. This is water. This isn't a stain. I realize that looks bad. Okay, so Destiny Rising comes out tomorrow. It is the NetEase mobile game based in the Destiny world that is not canon, that Bungie had very little to do with other than some layers of consulting. I think mostly on story stuff, but this is through and through a NetEase game. NetEase, the Marvel Rivals developer. I don't expect this to blow up into Marvel Rivals territory, but I just wanted to give my thoughts ahead of the launch here. This is obviously not the first time a lot of people have gotten their hands on the game. There were several open and closed tests that could take you decently far into the game and give you kind of a sense of how it plays, the story, sort of, a little bit of the monetization gacha stuff. And then right now, I've had access to, I don't know what to call it, like a vertical slice where it's actually, I think it's less content than what we had before, but they gave me like a special build that required like VPN access and all this stuff. It was just kind of a series of different activities without the story attached to it. I didn't play that very much. It's so close to launch and all of that gets wiped, and I already kind of know how it feels and stuff. I wrote an article yesterday that got a lot of attention about how I think that Destiny Rising has the potential to cannibalize some Destiny 2 players. Again, cannibalize does not mean consume whole in the context of, media and stuff like that. It means like, carve off some level of players within the same, ecosystem. So like these are both Destiny games, but one could sort of eat away at the other and draw away interest, at least temporarily. I find it very funny that this is coming out tomorrow and the only crossover was just announced, I think it was yesterday, and it's like, do this thing and get an emblem. And it's like, wow, they seem super excited about this. I think that there is the potential for this to, lure away some players for a few reasons. Some are positive about Destiny Rising, some are negative about Destiny. I mean, I think we're all pretty clear that Destiny 2 is not in the best spot right now. We are post Edge of Fate launch, and I do think Edge of Fate as an expansion was kind of better than I was expecting, outside of a few different things like the planet powers and stuff. But now we are fully stuck into portal grinding territory where pretty much at all levels, to power up efficiently to get higher tiers of loot, you have to play like 3 or 4 things, and that's sort of it. There are also indications that Bungie has really no clue how to fix this or make this more interesting. They've laid out a number of changes that are coming to the game when the Ash and Iron update launches, which is a short while after. It's sometime in September. I don't know. It's not too far away. I think a couple weeks. And the changes seem bad. They are a lot of nerfs when this game needs a lot of buffs. There's like a couple buffs, but it seems pretty bad. And even this week, Bungie launched like a bonus drop thing, and like it's deeply confusing as to what it actually means. And it's like the most pitiful bonus you've ever seen. It's like, I still don't even understand it. It's very minimal. It's like 1 extra drop in activities that have bonus drops active, and it doesn't matter for people that are 400 plus. It's bad. Like, how do you just do double drops? Double drop week. The end. Like, that's all you need to do. So the point is I think Destiny is not in a good spot, and it is primed to have players kind of head over to something new. Destiny Rising, if you've played it, which I know a lot of people haven't, is surprisingly good in a few ways. For a mobile shooter, which is significantly grading on a curve, obviously, it's not bad. There's a lot of like auto aim stuff and whatever, but it fundamentally does feel like Destiny. I mean, very stripped down version of Destiny. I don't think you can slide or things, but like the different classes, well, there's not classes, but there's, this has a double jump, this has a glide jump, stuff like that. The whole package does feel, at least to a certain extent, like Destiny. It is very much best played on a controller, and then, well, you can also emulate it. We'll go into that later on your PC. It has allegedly pretty good mouse and keyboard support. I haven't tried that yet. but I will probably just be playing it like that. So it's not like just horrific. Like you're not logging in, you're like, oh wow, this is totally ass. You can see the potential, I think, there. And there are a few things here where one aspect is that it's at least new stuff. It's like 1% of what a Destiny 3 would be, but I think players are just desperate for anything new in the Destiny universe, because what are we doing now? We have brought back a bazillion old activities and we are just grinding those endlessly. We're not going to be playing Inverted Spire in Destiny Rising. It's a new story, which may be questionable, but it's all new missions. And then in some instances, there are a lot of new guns. There are weapons. Well, there are a lot of things that players have asked Bungie for, where things like crossbows, they had the crossbow, set up before we just got one of them in Edge of Fate here. Dual wielding weapons, and then other categories of things like sparrow racing and player housing and stuff that has been requested for a very long time and has not arrived in Destiny. And I do think that the wide range of different, heroes you can play, I think a lot of them are fun. They say they're not based on classes. They're kind of based on classes, and they have a lot of kind of neat powers that we have not seen in the game before. Some of them are, kind of hybrids of things that exist, but, the famous Void Scythe example in terms of, the different kind of, new powers and new characters and things you can unlock. It's attractive. It is an attractive game in terms of what I think it can offer to some Destiny players, at least for a while. Okay, so that's the positive stuff. The negative stuff is the long-term prospects of the game and how many players may bounce off of it when they hit the gacha of it all. The unavoidable thing here is that this is going to fundamentally be a gacha game. And for those of you who don't know, a gacha game is a gambling game, essentially. And I don't mean gambling like, you're running something to get a drop of something you want in a game and it's, that kind of slot machine. I mean like literally with money. The reason there are so many characters is because they're going to keep introducing new ones. And there are, I don't know if there's 3-star, but there's 4 and 5-star characters. The higher tiers of characters are better almost always. And then there are different ways of powering them up that also cost money. I think they walk back to at least some of these. But fundamentally, you will be gambling for these different characters. People who do play gachas say that there are some aspects of this that are a little bit more generous than other gachas. That may be temporary, that may be not. I will tell you up front, there have been a lot of people who play the original and they're like, wow, like this isn't so bad. Like they gave me, so many resources. It's really easy to earn this stuff and like fish for new characters without, paying money or whatever. Let me tell you, like these games do this. They offer a whole bunch of, free currency and, constant earnings where you're going to play for a couple hours, possibly a lot of hours, before you're really going to start to run dry and before prices really, really go up and the odds really, really go down. And the necessity of different characters also goes up. You can already see this a little bit where you can only run certain missions with like a certain character with a certain element. And if you extrapolate this out, you can see how missions are going to be kind of more and more narrow, and it's going to, quote, encourage you to, get some new characters, take on these challenges in a different way, and in a way that it's not Destiny. Like it's not just like earning the right gear or the right armor set. Like it's money. There will be obviously some ways to earn currency, but if you've ever played this game, it is a crazy shortcut to just pay money. My main experience here is from Genshin Impact. That is a game that, don't ask me how much money I spent on it because it was a lot. But like that doesn't automatically rule the game out. I didn't have to spend money. The characters I did have still could be effective even if they weren't the most powerful ones. And I believe fundamentally that Genshin Impact was a good, fun game for the most part. The only reason I quit Genshin Impact was not because I got tired of the monetization or whatever. It was because I didn't have time to keep up with it. I always cite Genshin Impact as a game that is one of the only ones that I have seen produce PvE content at the pace of Destiny, possibly even more, and they just kept adding and adding and adding, and I had to just stop because it was too much. So, in theory, even if you don't pay for characters, even if you only have a scarce handful of characters or free ones, it is still possible that you can just sort of play everything you need to or want to outside of maybe the highest end stuff. We don't know yet. We haven't seen the full, what will be the end game of this. But there is a wall that a lot of players may run into. And Lord only knows how, much Destiny 2 players rightly complain about prices in Destiny with Eververse and expansion prices and year passes and all this stuff. So hitting a gacha game where you're gambling for these characters to the point where you're spending dozens or even hundreds or even thousands of dollars to kind of get all the characters, max them out, stuff like that, you can see how that is going to rub some people the wrong way. It's already rubbing people the wrong way. When I wrote that article, people were like, no, I'm not playing a mobile gacha game. I do think it being mobile is probably the biggest thing working against it, even more than gacha stuff. It sort of sucks, just playing it on your phone. I hate touch controls for shooters. Even if this is a pretty good shooter, I still don't want to play it on touch control. So you're playing with I'm playing with my PS5 controller with my little phone here. Hopefully emulation will kind of solve these problems. I can play it on my actual screen. I know not everyone will have access to that sort of thing or bother doing it or know that you can do it. So I do think that is a major barrier, and I do not blame people for being like, I don't want to play a Destiny mobile game even if it's new Destiny stuff. That is going to be a certain level of people. The other thing in terms of the long-term success of Destiny Rising is whether you can get non-Destiny players to play it, because I've always said that this isn't necessarily a mobile game made for Destiny players. It's a Destiny game made for mobile players, and you need a much wider base of support than whatever percent of the dwindling Destiny player base you can convince to sign up for this, play it regularly, pay money. You need the kind of people who are already playing mobile gacha games to be like, oh, well, this one looks cool, and head over there and break from their usual one they're spending money on to come play this. I have no idea if that will happen. I don't have access to the brains of those people. Obviously, NetEase is a Chinese company, and Asia is the biggest gacha market. People do not complain nearly as much about the gacha format over there. It is pretty standard. It is really not unheard of in a way where, God help us if there were, a whole bunch of mainstream games here that all use the gacha model. And, we didn't even want loot boxes. So gacha stuff can be a hard sell outside of kind of some of the biggest games out there. And some players over here have gotten used to that, but you're going to need the Asian market for this, and you're going to need it to be a success over there. And it is not unheard of, to have these games launch and then slowly kind of peter out. You can use the example of something like Diablo Immortal, where everyone, at least over in the West here, was like, why would you make this? This sucks ass. I don't want to pay money for power in Diablo, and this is stupid. A lot of people just sort of forgot that existed. Guess what? Diablo Immortal still exists, and it still makes a good amount of money and is still pumping out new content. So that could still, that could be something that happens here where it may not be on the average Western Destiny player's mind, but it could still exist as a game that continues to get content indefinitely, even if, a lot of us are ignoring it. So those are sort of my predictions in terms of what it might do short term in terms of porting people over from Destiny to this. It's more medium term prospects, and then what I think is going to be some significant barriers here for a lot of existing players. So I will have it launches at what, noon Eastern tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see how much I play there and when I actually do a video on it. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow, but I'm not sure how much further I'm going to get past what we already played in the alpha, although it will be more finished. So look for more content on that. I'll probably do a few videos on this, maybe more, depending on how much I end up playing this. But we are heading toward a lot of other games that are going to eat away at Destiny players. I think, first and foremost, Borderlands 4. Big looter, looks awesome. It was a looter shooter before Destiny, and I think that has the potential to really kind of hurt Destiny at the current moment. So especially, Ash and Iron's launching right around that time. So that is not ideal timing. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.